Since the 1950s, most of America's warplanes have been given names which indicate a potential threat, like the F-4 Phantom or the A-6 Intruder. Or they've got names of animals and birds, like the F-14 Tomcat, the F-15 Eagle, and the F-16 Falcon. Last week, the country's 47th president, Donald Trump, along with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth by his side inside the Oval Office at the White House, announced that the United States' Air Force is going to develop the sixth-generation fighter aircraft, the F-47. The president, Donald Trump, said that 47 was a beautiful number. He is the 47th president of the United States. He also added that Boeing will be making this new jet, and it would be considered a sixth-generation fighter.
The F-47 will be the most advanced, most capable, most lethal aircraft ever built. An experimental version of the plane has secretly been flying for almost 5 years, and we're confident that it massively overpowers the capabilities of any other nation. There's no other nation. We know every other plane. I've seen every one of them, and it's not even close. This is a next level. You know, level 5 is good. This is level 6.
The Air Force Chief of Staff, General David Allwyn, was also in the Oval Office when Trump made this announcement. He later said that the F-47 was a monumental leap forward in securing America's air superiority for decades to come. The F-47 would be the most advanced, lethal, and adaptable fighter jet ever developed. It has been designed specifically to outpace, which means it's faster, outmaneuver, and outmatch any adversary with a sixth-generation fighter. Trump, in fact, said that an experimental version of the F-47 had been flying for almost 5 years. If the F-47 delivers on all the hype and the promises that it seems to be making, it could well be the most advanced fighter jet in the world. Currently, there are no sixth-generation fighter jets that are part of an operational fleet. Both Russia and China are working on their own sixth-generation warplanes, as are a bunch of European countries, but none of them officially has a commissioned sixth-generation fighter in their fleet. American generals and admirals have long prized speed as a critical metric for how well the fighter jets perform. Although off late, it's not so much speed, but stealth and the ability to fly longer distances with more fuel-efficient engines. These have become as much important factors, if not more, than speed. The F-47 will fly above Mach 2, which is 2 times the speed of sound. That's roughly about 2,400 kilometers an hour.
This provides the president options from the very one end, which is a quick response, and then we can get right back into fighting stance without having to deploy troops that are going to take maybe months and cost more lives. We can be back in fighting stance, and maybe we restore that deterrence. All the way to decisive victory as part of a joint force that is the most lethal and capable military ever known in history.
The SR-71 Blackbird, the reconnaissance plane, even today holds the record for the fastest ever human flight which was successful. That record was set in the late 1970s. It continues to be unchallenged at over Mach 3, or more than 3 times the speed of sound. According to the US Air Force, the twin-engine F-22 Raptors, they are the fastest in the fleet currently. They can cruise above Mach 1.5, even reach Mach 2. While the single-engine F-35, which is the most advanced fighter jet currently in the US fleet, that can reach up to Mach 1.6. The F-47 is expected to cost more than $100 million per fighter jet. It is the most competitively priced fighter aircraft as and when it gets commissioned into the US military. The F-35 too, which currently is the most expensive fighter jet in the world, is about $80 to $90 million. But more than speed, increasingly fighter jets are being valued for stealth. The F-47 would be virtually untraceable, making it one of the stealthiest aircraft in the world. It will make it almost impossible for enemy radars to pick up the flight movement of the F-47. The United States has used stealth aircraft in combat, in wars, since the first Gulf War of 1991. It used the Lockheed Martin F-117 Nighthawk, leading the attacks into Iraq. During the NATO bombings in the Balkans in 1999, another stealth aircraft, the B-2 Spirit bombers, were put into combat for the very first time. But of all the stealth warplanes that the United States has put into service, they've all got one similar feature, particularly in the last 30 years, and that is to make them less and less visible to enemy radar, meaning they are prioritizing stealth much more than speed. These warplanes are also designed to carry missiles or bombs either in internal bays or in external wings. But then, if you use weapons on the external wings, that makes these aircraft much more susceptible to radar pickups. The F-35 can carry a handful of missiles and bombs internally under each wing, but it can also carry them externally. The B-2 bomber, though, is much bigger and can carry much higher payload, in fact up to 40,000 pounds of bombs internally. So how did the current 5th and under development 6th generation aircraft stack up against each other? Currently, the most aggressive, the most popular fighter jets are being deployed by the United States Air Force, the Russian Air Force, and the Chinese PLA Air Force. Here's a quick check of each one of them. The F-22 Raptor, its top speed at Mach 2.25, which is roughly 1,200 kilometers per hour, which means it can go up to 2,500 kilometers per hour or more in high altitude. It is currently the fastest aircraft in the US military right now. There is the F-35 Lightning II. The top speed is slightly slower than the Raptor, but it can go up to Mach 1.6, which is approximately about 1,200 miles per hour. Then there is the Russian Sukhoi 57 Felon, which also can match the top speed of the Raptor at 2.0 Mach, which is approximately 2,400 kilometers per hour. This is the latest 5th generation fighter commissioned into the Russian Air Force. It's been deployed in the Ukraine battlefront as well. Then there is the Chinese PLA Air Force, the Chengdu J-20, which is the current 5th generation, currently developed and commissioned into the Chinese PLA Air Force. It is the highest 5th generation fighter that's currently in the Chinese stable. Its top speed is also Mach 2, which is twice the speed of sound at 2,400 kilometers per hour. And then there is the Chengdu J-36, which China's 6th generation fighter jet, which is currently in the development stage. China is developing this 6th generation jet, also known as the Baide, or the White Emperor. The specific speed details for J-36 are not fully confirmed yet. It's still undergoing testing. However, it's designed for supersonic speeds and is expected to have a performance similar to or exceeding that of the current 5th generation fighters. There has been speculation since Trump's announcement last week of the F-47 that it was the leaked pictures of the Chinese 6th generation fighter, which is in the development stage, which prompted Trump and the US Air Force to make that announcement public last week. But at a time when we are seeing both on the Ukraine battlefront as well as in the Gaza battlefront, countries are resorting to cheaper but more sophisticated drones, the question also raises itself as to whether the efficacy of these fighter jets will continue into the wars of the future.